All right, welcome back everyone. Look at this. We got mushrooms, we got onions, and we got some pork loins. And we're going to make pork loins in mushroom gravy. Very simple and a very yummy dish. So let's get our stuff out. I've got 6-ish pork loins, all nice and thin. You don't want the real thick ones. Half pound of mushrooms. We're going to chop those up, of course. Cup of onions, probably medium to a large one. Some garlic. Some pork gravy in a packet, because that's the easy way to do it. And if you don't have the fresh mushrooms, you can always use the can. And lastly, we're going to need some butter for cooking. Let's get our prep work done. So the mushrooms we're going to slice into 4 or 5 pieces each, after you've washed them, of course. So it looks something like that. Nice and thick too. And there's our half pound of mushrooms, works out to about 2 cups. And we'll put that aside. Now I've got 2 ginormous cloves of garlic. So if you got smaller cloves, it might only be like 4 instead of 2. And you smash them because that makes it easier to peel the outside skin off them. Kind of like that, because they do get sticky. And once we're done fighting with the second one, there you go. So now we're just going to chop off the ends, get that anything that doesn't look good out. Give them a good mince. Just like that. So now we've got to get our pork loins ready to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a bunch of pieces. So yeah, this should be enough for what we're doing. We're salt and peppering them up on both sides. Nothing fancy here. So we did the one side, now we're just going to flip them around and do the other side. Little bit of salt, little bit of pepper. Looks good to me. Okay. Over to our frying pan. That's about a tablespoon of butter. In go our mushrooms. Stir them up, cook them up, medium heat of course, till they look something like that. That looks good to me. We'll put that aside, put them back in their container. Same thing, another tablespoon of butter, and in goes half-ish of our onions. And we're going to stir these around, mix them around till they get nice and translucent-y. And we'll put that aside. Garlic's up. Same thing, we use a little bit of butter, not too much. And we're going to cook this for about 30 seconds-ish. Not super long. I don't know why I didn't put the butter in first. I should have known that. So now that they've been cooking, on goes our pork loins. I'm going to have to do this in 2 lifts because there just isn't enough. Couple 3 minutes each side, and then you flip them over. Yes, they're not going to be fully cooked, but that's okay because they are going to go in the oven. 2-3 minutes each side, out of the frying pan, onto our baking sheet. Then we'll work on the second lift. And while that's finishing, I need some beef broth, but I don't have any handy, so I'm going to use bouillon cubes. And then we're going to make our gravy. Here is boiling water, cup of boiling water in our bouillon cube. And to make the gravy, some more water and the gravy mix. Over to our pan. In goes that gravy mix because we're actually going to make the gravy. And yeah, there is some lumpy stuff in there, but this will help get rid of all the bits and pieces of garlic on the bottom. In goes our onions we sauteed. In goes our mushrooms. And we're going to bring this up to a boil because that'll let the gravy thicken. And you can see it starts looking browner And it starts thickening up. Maybe not quite as much as I want, but when you let it sit, it will. Onto our baking dish. You need a fair size one for this because you are putting in quite a bit of pork. And of course I forgot to grease the bottom of the pan, which I should have done. It's still going to work out. And of course you can see here that the pork barely fits. I had a couple small ones. Those are good for little kids. The same great taste, but in a kid-sized bite. Next, all our gravy. We're going to cover up all of the pork loin as best we can. It didn't seem like there was enough gravy to go around, but if you're careful, I managed to cover every piece. Now we're going to bake this, of course, so some of it's not going to matter, but you do want to make sure everything's covered to start. Smoosh it around just to make sure we're completely all covered. Cover it up with some foil. Into the oven it goes, 350 degrees, about 45 minutes. Take that cover off. Looks good. It's going to go back in the oven uncovered, 10 to 15 minutes. Seems like a lot, but there's a lot of liquid in there. And when it's done, you see it's bubbly. Looks pretty good to me. So now we just need to get a spoon out, and we're going to try and get this onto a plate. See how the gravy's kind of liquidy again? That's partially because the pork hadn't quite cooked all the way through. We just seared the top. That's okay. I'm trying to find a really nice piece there. We'll use that one. I also need some mushrooms. I'd managed to do that. Put our baking dish aside, ever so carefully, and there is our pork loin with mushroom gravy. Yummy! Hey, another great recipe. I hope you'll give it a try. Leave me a comment below, one way or the other. Listen, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell because that'll tell you the next time I upload a video. Feel free to share this and any of my other videos. And thanks for stopping by and watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.